Good morning, everybody. We are in Amud Yomi Makkos, Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. We are reading Beis Din base in the bottom of the page, but today's official Amud in our cycle is Gimel Amud Aleph. And yes, as you can see, the screen is on the Rambam, not in the Gemara, because we still have to deal with an Iyun point that we have discussed in the previous year, and I would like to elaborate on more now. This year's Le'ilu Nishmas of Menachem ben Akiva. Bas Shalom Sol, Bas Moshe Aviva, Bas Moshe Ulatzlochas, Ulatzolas, all kidnapped people, all the Chatufim, all the Shvuim, and all the soldiers should come back home safe, and Mashiach should come here and finished. And basically, we were discussing on Thursday, what would be the halacha if Eidim Zomimim were made that, let's say, they were made on sorry, excuse me, on Shor HaNiskal. Yeah, Eidim Zomim were made that someone's bull killed a person, right? So now you would have to pay the value of the person, the value of the owner, the value of the dead person, okay? And the question is, those Eidim Zomimim, we said halacha says that they don't have to pay for the money they wanted to get from the guy. They basically wanted the guy to pay money upon their eidus. They don't have to pay that amount of money. And we said because it's kapara, right? It's kapara because it's not something that is regular payment. I owe you money because I stole from you. Yeah, it's not even a knas, but rather, what is it? It is just one thing, a kapara. A person would die misa b'dei shamayim, and in order to atone for his sin, not to get misa b'dei shamayim, he has to pay the kapara for who? Happens to go to the owner of the bull, to the family, of the dead. So now, my question to you was, does he get malchus? The Mishnah didn't say that this person gets malchus. The Mishnah, out of 4 cases we mentioned, only 2 cases we mentioned in the Mishnah, the Eidim Zomim get malchus. And that was Eid Zomim regarding Cholol, Kohen Cholol, and also regarding Rotzech B'Shoigeg. So does he get malchus? They get malchus. Those Eidim Zomim go for plan B, which is malchus, and we learned it, from the Psukim. What about a person who is Eidim Zomimim who are made about a show that gored the other person and killed him? They don't have to pay the money because it's kapara. It's not regular payment. Like A has to say, A and B said that X owes Y money. X owes 500 to Y. We change the formula. A and B pay X. It's all math. Here it's not math. It's about his soul, his kapara. It's instead of, be clean in the eyes of Hashem, to be clean in the eyes of Hashem, he has to pay the money. Eidim Zomimim have nothing to do with that. But do they get the malchus instead, or don't they even get malchus? Apparently, it's Machlokes Rambam and Ramban. And I'll first read you the Rambam. The Rambam, as always, makes a very nice summary of the whole issue. I'm reading inside. You don't have the Rambam here, but we have the Rambam on the screen. You can watch it online afterwards. Says the Rambam, Eidim sheidu halacha ches. Eidim sheidu al echad ve'yoshiu resha she'en bo loy malchus ve'loy misa ve'lo chiyuv mammon. You hear that? When Eidim Zomimim were trying to incriminate someone, but the type of resha, incrimination, what they wanted to basically to punish him with, is not involving malchus and not death and not mammon. It's not called chiyuv mammon and not monetary payment or obligation. And then there's a zoma. They get malchus. They didn't want to give him malchus, but they get malchus nevertheless. And then it gives you a few examples. Yeah. And that first 2 we know already from the Mishnah. And look at the third one. Boom. The cat is out of the bag. The Rambam says mefuresh that person, those people were made that Reuven's bull killed Shimon, and therefore Reuven should pay Shimon's family $5 million that Shimon's Zichron Levrocha was worth $5 million paid to the family. There's a hazama. They don't have to pay koifer. They don't pay koifer. And what do? Loikin. What do we do to them? They get malchus. According to the Rambam, they get malchus. Why? Because koifer is not money, it's kapora, fine. But edim zomimim are edim zomim just as much, right? They were as bad as any other ed zomim. So why shouldn't they get malchus? Yeah, plan B, that they can get off the hook, right? And the fourth one, which we're going to discuss today, eidu olav shanim kar be'eved ivri v'huzmu loikin. They were made that he was sold as an eved ivri, and it's wrong. He was not sold as an eved ivri, the loikin. That's a different discussion. That's only pi kabbalah, meaning these are all droshes from the psukim. The Rabbanan were darshaning from the psukim. That is the Rambam. The Ramban, as I started telling you last week, the Ramban believes otherwise. The Ramban says something, the shtick. Ramban says no. Ramban says eidus is only eidus when I made to people. You guys know if Reuven killed Shimon? No. Do you know if Levi's bull killed and gored Binyamin? We don't know. We are Beis Din, we're human beings. So the Eidim are giving us information, right? The Eidim give us information, Beseder, then we receive the eidus, we hear the eidus, and if the eidus is eidus what's zoimim, eidus that's muzam, they gotta pay. Mashe'en can or get malchus. Mashe'en in the case of the bull is not like that. Why? Because really, when a person's bull is gored someone, it's between him and a Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's between him and Hashem. It's a kapara. Yeah, the fact that he killed the other person, of course, it's a very bad thing in the eyes of Hashem. He's chayv misa b'dei shamayim. Hashem is sokel the gam be'ol of yumas b'dei shamayim. He gets misa b'dei shamayim. Gets misa b'dei shamayim. Oh, instead of misa b'dei shamayim, you better pay the koifel. Says the Ramban, your eidus, Mister, and the other ed zoimim, that is absolutely irrelevant. Once we know your zoimimim, we say Hakadosh Baruch Hu never needed your eidus. Hashem knows the truth without you talking. So your eidus, retrospectively speaking, was not really necessary. Your eidus wasn't there for Hashem. Hashem knows the truth anyways. And therefore, since the koifer is instead of what? Of Misa B'dei Shamayim, koifer is still in line with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, not the people. It's true the Beis Din are the ones who carry the word of Hashem. Now, don't ask me that, as I think somebody asked me on Thursday, everything is from Hashem, and everything true. Of course, everything's from Hashem, from the Torah, from Shamayim. Obviously. Usually, the Hashem gave halacha to us, and that's where it starts, that's where it finishes. If I stole some money from someone, I have to pay him not b'dinei Shamayim. I have to pay him b'dinei Odom. That's dinei Odom. Hashem gave, right? Hashem gave the Torah to us, right? Hashem gave us the Torah. You have to pay him money. The Edim Zomim said Reuven has to pay money to Shimon. They have to pay Reuven. Finished. Shekin, in the case of koifer, it's exclusively something which is heilig from Hashem, and therefore even the koifer is instead of misi b'dei shamayim. It's not the edim's business, and therefore the entire edus from its core is not an eidus zoimim. It's not an eidus zomemes, because the whole eidus right from the start, it's not that it's an eidus, but we can't exercise the payment, so we have a plan B called malchus. The whole eidus was uprooted from the start, and therefore they don't get malchus. According to Ramban, they do not get malchus, and the Ritva supports that, and he says he likes very much what the Ramban says. Ramban was the rabbi of the Ritva, and he likes what he says, and this is a pshat in the Ramban. So, Bekitzer, it's a machlokes. What about the person? What about the Eidim Zomim? About Eved Ivri? That's the next sugya. Okay? Yes.
Offended parties have a choice to have money.
But now that we're done with a little bit of Iyun part, let's go back and go to around 10 lines from the bottom of the page. Beis Amud Beis, Maseches Makkos. Ve'enim koim be'eved ivri. Enim koim be'eved ivri. This is a quote from the Brisa. That's the fourth case in which Eidim do not get what they wanted to give. They're not being punished as Ba'asisam lo kashal zomem lasas le'ochiv. It's the fourth exception to the rule in which Eidim did not receive the punishment that they wanted to basically give the other. In other words, let's say they said that someone stole, okay, and they said, listen, he stole the money, And therefore, now this person was sold by Eved Ivri, or should be sold in Eved Ivri, according to Rashi, it sounds like that. And they themselves came out to be liars. The other Meizimim came and said, Imanu Yisem, you said that he stole last week. He stole from Osher Ad, from Rami Levi. These are Israeli supermarkets, in case our Torah Anytime friends don't know. Yeah, Osher Ad is also New York, I've heard, yeah. So let's say he stole from Osher Ad, and what? And he stole 1,000 shekels worth. Now he has to pay 1,000 plus another 1,000. He has no money, doesn't have 2,000 shekels. Let him be sold as an Eved Ivri, right? And then they came out as liars. Last week they did not go to Rami Levi. They've never been there in their lives, or Sharad. They went somewhere else. They went to Costco and Costco, whatever it's called, and what Costco, right? I remember Cost, yeah, there. And they went to Safeway, and they're liars. Now they are not going to be sold as an Eved Ivri. When do you sell a person as an Eved Ivri? Only if he has no money, right? Then plan B is Eved Ivri. Edim Zemimim are never sold as Avodim Ivrim. And the question is, why not, first of all? And before that, before we bring the source, the Gemara is going to suggest, I'm just showing you the outline of the Gemara before we start. Rav Himnuna is going to suggest the Havamina. We're going to attack the Havamina, then we're going to change the Havamina. Yeah, we're going to change the Havamina and then come to the conclusion. Sava Rav Himnuna Lemema. Rav Himnuna wanted to say, Hani Mili, that is only true that the Eidim Zemimim will not be sold as a Hebrew servant. In other words, when the accused has money, if the accused person had money, yeah, don't tell me if they knew about it or not. Let's say he stole, let's leave Osherad with 2,000. He stole from the bank $1 million. Ooh. And let's say he had $1 million. And now, if he had $1 million, okay, and they said he stole $1 million, then they came out with the egg on their faces that are lying. Then we say, continues the Gemara, if a person has $1 million, so and he has $1 million in the bank to pay, is he being sold as an Eved Ivri? Yes or no? No. When he has the money, then they're not sold as Eved Ivri. Why? Since he wasn't going to be sold, clearly they're not going to sell him. They're going to make him pay 2 million, right? But since now he is not going to be sold, even according to their vicious plan, in Hunami, they too, lo mizdabnu. They too should not be sold because it's not what they wanted to do to him. Aval bat let's say in case he doesn't have anything, doesn't have enough, let's say he's poor, he stole $1 million and spent it, and he doesn't have now a penny for his soul, yeah, and he doesn't have the money, and clearly the only option for him would be slavery, yes, then maybe would say, then I would say, even if they have 2 million, they're rich, maybe we should say that they should be sold. In other words, if they wanted to sell him because he has no cash bichlal or no money bichlal, even if they have money, let them, yes, be sold, because that's what they wanted to do to him. Before we continue, the Ritva, yeah, today we're a little bit into Iyun, Ritva asks the question, what's the Chiddush? What's the Chiddush? In other words, the beginning of the line was, in case he has no, when do we say, when is the Chiddush? What's the Brisa saying according to this stage? That if the Eidim Zemimim are trying to incriminate someone who has money, right, 2 million, then they're not being sold as Eved Ivri. Says the Ritva, of course. Why would have thought otherwise? If we know and they know, everybody knows the guy's rich. He has the 2 million. He didn't spend it yet. He has whatever. He has the whole thing. Then why should it be sold as Eved Ivri? Obviously not. It's not Kashal Zomam. They wanted to make him pay cash. Of course, they're not going to be sold as Eved Ivri. Answers the Ritva. Listen to this. Even in case, this is important to know in the Lomdus of the Masechta, even if they didn't know, let's say it can be proven that they didn't know he has money. The truth is, he has money, and really, had they gone along all the way till the end with their vicious plan, he would have paid money unjustifiably, but they didn't know that. They thought he doesn't have, and they're imagining in their crooked mind, he's going to become an Eved Ivri. Yes? Even then, we say no. They're not being sold as Eved Ivri, but they have to pay. That's a chiddush. We don't go by what their thought is. We go by the objective reality. Okay? That's what Rav Nun is coming to tell us. Is coming to tell us only if he doesn't have money, let's say he really doesn't have money, whether they knew it or not, he has no money. Maybe then, and therefore he would be sold as an Eved Ivri. That's objective. Maybe then, even if they have money, they should still be sold as an Eved Ivri. Yeah, because that's what they wanted to do. That's what Rav Nuna says. That's his Havamina. Continues the Gemara with the Atrove. Fact the Gemara, no, that Havamina doesn't make sense, not even as a Havamina. Why can't the Edim Zomimim tell the accused, the victim, ant havelach, mi hava mizdabnat? It's so nice, we're trying so much to do quid pro quo, measure for measure, but if you had money like we had, you also wouldn't be sold, right? If you had money, we have money and you don't, and you're saying, oh, I'm being sold as a slave, you should also be sold as slaves. No. The etzem, you should look at plan A and plan B as one package deal. One package deal, which means what? What's the package deal? If you had money, we said one thing. We didn't tell Beis Din what to do. We didn't say whether you have to be sold or pay money or jump off the roof or fly to outer space. We said the guy stole last week from the bank 1 million and we saw it. Okay? We saw him on the computer. He didn't sit behind our backs. Yeah. We saw him playing around with the numbers. He's a bank manager. These things happen, by the way. And he played with the money, right? We saw that. And what we didn't tell Beis Din what to do. Now it's up to circumstances. In other words, you happen not to have money, so now you're going to be sold as a slave. We have money. Why should we be sold as slaves? We're going to be what? Pay the money. Let's say I want to incriminate somebody that has blue eyes and I have brown eyes. I do have brown eyes. And one of my blue-eyed friend, I really hate him, and I want to incriminate him. Of course, we're not the same. So what? I still have to pay 1 million shekels. No two people are the same. In other words, the package deal of what happens to a thief is pay or being sold as an Eved. So even though this guy was going to be sold as a slave, that's his personal circumstances, he has no money. But we that have money, we're going to pay. Because it's all one package deal. We're not looking at the Lamaise. We look at the whole concept. That's the question. Well, I'll hear you soon, not now. Ananami lo mizdabrinan. We're also not going to be sold. We should be paying money. If you too had money like us, you'd be paying money. Just like you happen to be 6 foot tall and we are 8 foot tall, it's what? Ela sover mnuna lemema. Therefore, we changed the havamina of Mnuna. Ani mili, Rav Mnuna had the havamina to say, you know when it's true that they're not sold as avodim? It's only if either him or them have money. Or if either side has money, then nobody sold as slaves. Let's go a little bit. Let's elaborate. If he has money, they wanted to make him pay money. They're not sold as slaves. If they have money, also not sold as slaves, because we are like the thief. You get what I'm saying? We're not in the shoes of the thief. We happen to be rich. A rich thief pays. Yeah, I told the other guy he killed, smoked on Shabbos. So, and he has blue eyes. So they're going to be cycle a guy with blue eyes. I'm with brown eyes, so not going to be cycle me? Of course not. I am the other version of Michal Shabbos. I mean, Michal Shabbos. So in such a case, we say that, of course, they're not being sold as slaves. They'll pay. I said you're Ganav. Oh, now the Ganav, the buck passed to me. I'm a Ganav. I happen to be 10 million in the bank to have. I'll pay 2 million. Aval. Now comes the punch. Oh, but in case none of them has money, woo, plan A is out the window. You told him to throw out the window. Plan A is out the window. Neither him nor them have money. So we know right from the start that the whole sprach, the whole situation here is all about what? About avdus. They wanted to make him eved, and they too don't have money. They would be avodim. Mizdabni. Maybe in such a case, you should sell them as avodim. Yes. Last time I checked in the Torah, they wanted to make him slave, and only slave. There's no other choice. They know he has no money. He has no money. They don't have money, so let them be sold. Why not? This is a very nice svara, but there's a special droshe. Oh, it says in the Torah when it talks about an Eved Ivri, a Ganev being sold as Eved Ivri, in Parshas Mishpatim, it says over there, Im ein loy v'nimkar b'gnevosoi. V'nimkar b'gnevosoi. If he has no money, he should be sold in his theft. The drosha says, gnevosoi v'lo bizmor moi. Only if you steal real hands-on yeah, with red, real blue collar crime of theft, then you're being sold. But if it's zmamoy, if you did a verbal theft, so to speak, and you wanted to incriminate someone as an edzimim, you're not being sold. Why? Because that's what the Torah says. As Rambam says, divrei kabbalah. Okay, very good. Yes, questions? Tum Rabbi Akiva Omru. Oh, comes the fifth one, fifth wheel. No, it's not a fifth wheel, it's Rabbi Akiva. Mishum Rabbi Akiva Omru. What did Rabbi Akiva say? On behalf of Rabbi Akiva, they added another one. Not exactly a case, not exactly a regular accusation, but a situation. What did they say B'Shem Rabbi Akiva? En mishamin al pi atzman. Let me just elaborate a little bit. En mishamin al pi atzman means, as I told you, let's portray the case before we continue. Literally, en misham piatzman means they don't pay upon their own confession. Okay, that's how I would say it in English. Let's say in Beis Din in Bet Shemesh, Edim came and said that so and so stole and killed Mechalo Shabbos, Mezana, whatever you want, think whatever you want. Yeah, he did something real bad, and the Edim came out to be Zoymimim. Same case, Immanuesim, you're with us in Haifa, you're not in Bet Shemesh. And so it was. And the Beis Din said, goodbye, everybody. Good night. We're going. And they came out with Zomimim. Now, Beis Din didn't yet judge them. You have to be very, very delicate over here. We know the facts that they are Zomimim, but Beis Din didn't yet say, oh, now you have to pay him the money. Let's say it's about money. That's the simplest case, yeah? He says $1 million, the kids are no million, no dollars. It's all, Cinderella stories. And what? And now what happens next? It's all fairy tales. Now, okay, Beis Din went home, and now it's up to him, the accused, to take them to court, right? To take them to a different court or the same court, whichever court, and now start a new file, a new accusation, a new story, a new court case, and take them to Beis Din that they owe him money, and it should be Eidim. They owe him money as Zoymimim, right? That's a new case. They were smart. These people are not stupid. From Beit Shemesh, they went quickly to the Beis Din in Be'er Sheva. And what did they say there? They said, yes, we are confessing with tears in our eyes or without tears in our eyes. They're confessing to Beis Din that they were Zoymimim. Yeah, we are so sorry, such terrible people. It's all got the better of us. And yes, really, we were Zoymimim. We were Zoymimim. We were so sorry. We were Zoymimim. And now, they pulled the rug from under his feet. Now they don't have to pay him. They don't have to pay him. If he's going to take them out to court in Berlin or Boston or Bahamas, they are not going to pay anymore, because once they confessed, they are out of the loop, and they don't have to pay, and you cannot take them to court. Where else did we find a very similar idea? In many places. We saw this in Bava Kama, in other places. Moidebek. Before what? In regard, when does that help and what doesn't it? Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't help. Moide beknas potur. Famous line. Moide beknas potur. If I said to Beis Din, before anybody accused me, and let's say I chas v'shalom stole from someone last night, I went and I stole from someone a motorbike. And then I went to Beis Din and I confessed and I cried and I said, I stole the motorbike. Then the motorbike I still have to give back, but the kefel I don't have to give. What's knas? Knas is basically money that is not logically and not returning money that I took. It's a fine. It's a penalty money. It's penalty money. Like a knas today in modern Israel, you have to pay, I don't know how much already, 200 shekels for parking in the wrong place. You didn't take 200 shekels from anybody. Nobody actually cares when I park near my son's cheder. Nobody's even there, yeah? So why do you get 200 shekels ticket? It's done. It's a punishment from the area for doing the wrong thing, for parking in red and white, right? To 50, I don't know. Okay, the seder. So now that's a knas. How much do you have to pay if you're shor gored an eved? 90. Shloishim shkolim. Maybe the eved is worth 15. 15. Maybe it's worth 50. Doesn't matter. 30. Set amount. That's called a knas. If I went to Beis Din quickly, before the other guy, before the gored, the owner of the eved, that my bull gored, I quickly run to Beis Din and I confess, with or without tears, doesn't matter. I confess and I say, my bull gored, I don't have to pay him. Why? Because it says in the Torah, Asher Yershiun Elohim. It talks there about Kefel. It says Yershiun Elohim. Elohim. Why am I saying Elohim and not Elohim? Because it talks about Beis Din. Only the one that's Yershiun that was incriminated by Beis Din. Yeah? But as opposed to one who's self-incriminating, he doesn't have to pay a knas. Okay, it's true about everything. How much does a guy pay if he chas v'sholem raped a girl? 50 shkolim. That's not 50 shekels of today. One field was 15 shkolim in Yerushalayim. It's like 4 apartments in Yerushalayim, Berach. It's a lot of money. Yeah, 3 apartments. Yeah. So the guy confessed to Beis Din, doesn't have to pay, has to pay other payments, but not the knas. Pay for tzal, boishes. He doesn't pay for the knas. That's halacha. That's gzal sekosum. Or maybe there's logic there. Yeah, you came, you confessed, you didn't argue, you were good enough to confess and come out with it, come clean. So the Torah exempts you from the knas. Right? We're familiar with that from other places. Let's see. Mishum Rabbi Kiva Amud. Why is Rabbi Kiva saying what he's saying? Why did Rabbi Kiva say that if Eidim Zoymimim came and said, we have been Zoymimim in another Beis Din, why don't they have to pay? Tova, because Rabbi Kiva believes, Knosahu. Rabbi Kiva says it's a knas. The knas en Meshalem al pi atzmoi. Very good. It's a knas. Yeah. Why is Eidim Zoymimim a knas? What do you think? Anybody? Well, the Gemara says, Omar Rabba, says Rabba. Rabba is an Amoiro to explain the Tana Rabbi Akiva. Teda, I'll prove it to you. Teda means a proof. You know that. Teda, I'll prove to you. Sharilo osu ma'ise v'nerogim u'meshalmin. They didn't do anything. You kill people as if they were Mechalel Shabbos by just speaking. We never saw such a thing in the Torah. That's a knas. It's not, so to speak, logical payment or logical punishment. A punishment of skila, the hardest punishment in the world, is for a person who really broke Shabbos, who really had relations with a man or with his mother, or I don't know, Avodah Zarah. Yeah, but those guys didn't do any of that, and yet we give them that punishment. Mishalmin, they didn't steal $1 million from anybody. They verbally, and by the way, Eidim Zoymimim, you've been enough through the Bovis, that's Groma. They're talking, blah, 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 blah. They're talking a lot of words, and with their words, they're causing someone to pay money. It's very immoral, right? But they didn't really steal $1 million from anybody, yeah? And yet they pay. So Bikiva says, listen, of course, that's what the Torah said. Great, I define that as a knas. If that's a knas, great. So we follow the rules of knas. Go all the way to go all the way with that. Yeah. And therefore, if this is a knas, they don't have to pay. If they admitted they're wrong, they don't have to pay. Amar Nachman, Teda, I'll prove it to you. Sounds like Rav Nachman, this is an important point, as if Rav Nachman is giving a different proof for the one of Rabbah. And Rav Nachman, listen to this. Teda, I'll prove to you that Rabbi Kiva is right. Oh, you're going to like that because you always mention the gavel business. What happens, I want to ask you a question. The Eidim Zoymimim said that Reuven owes Shimon $20,000. Okay, good. Now, Reuven has $20,000 in his pocket, and the Beis Din, it's called, by the way, in Hebrew, Gemar Din. Will you keep calling it gavel down? It's Gemar Din. The din is finished. Beis Din decided. Beis Din made a clear, final, strict decision. Gavel down. Reuven has to pay Shimon 20,000. Okay. Reuven did not yet pay the 20,000. That's the whole idea, right? Kasher Zomam v'lo kasher also. And in Beis Din, Rama ran the other two Eidim, Yosef and Binyamin, and they said, what? Beryl and Shmerel, you full liars. You're with us in Nahariya. Oh, what are you talking about? Yeah. Oh. And therefore, what happens then? What happens in that moment? Reuven, the accused, has money in his pocket, which he didn't yet give. Do Beryl and Shmerel, the Eidim Zomim, have to pay him 20,000? Yes, because it was Gmar Din before he paid. Yes, he's gaining. He didn't lose the 20,000. Plus, they have to give him 20,000. So you see clearly that's a knas. Moment bi'adayim and mishalmim. The guy has money. They didn't even cause him a real loss because that's the whole idea of kasher zoma v'lo kasher also. Same thing by death. Okay, I don't have to be smarter than Rav Nachman. I'm just adding more. The guy is alive. They didn't kill him. The guy did not get skila. Before he got skila, was on his way to the skila house, crying and scared and saying vidui. And in came the Superman Eidim Mezimim to show us the truth. And then what happens? You give skila to Beryl and Shmerel. The guy's alive. They didn't kill him yet, not even verbally. They wanted to. So that's clearly a knas, right? It's not a logical payment. It's a knas. Especially with money, you see it even more. He has 20,000 in his pocket. He made a nice deal over here. He got another 20,000 from them. So they're not even paying for a loss that they caused. It's Poshut Mamish Kanas. It's the epitome of Kanas. Breg the Gemara, my new the losu maise. What exactly did Rav Huna mean when he said loy osu maise? Yeah, let's repeat. We just saw now, right? Excuse me, Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says moment ba'alim u'mishalmin. The Gemara says, Rav Nachman, what exactly did you mean? My new the losu maise. I know the Rabbah. What did you mean when you said that the money wasn't yet taken out of the pocket of Reuven, the accused? No maise was done. Well, it's the same as Rabbah. The question basically is, what did Rav Nachman add to Rabbah? Rabbah said already, no maise was done. Be it money, be it skila, be it malchus, be it whatever you want, right? Either, it's very nice, by the way, the way, I just want to pause for a second. How did the Rambam summarize it for us? The Rambam said, only one of the three things apply to Edim Zomimim. Either they wanted to mechayiv someone death, or malchus, or regular money. Not all kinds of other. That's it. Oh, so it's all included in Rabbah's statement. Rabbah said, Lo sumaisa. They didn't kill, they didn't cause malchus, really. Nobody got malchus, nobody chapped malchus, and nobody had to pay. L'hainu de Rabbah. So what's Rav Nachman adding to Rabbah? It's just another example, but it's all included in Rabbah's words. And it says the Gemara, Enochinami. Ema, you have to just change the text and say, V'chen Omar Rav Nachman. Enochinami. V'chen Omar Rav Nachman. Enochinami. Rav Nachman is not coming to add a new statement on Rabbah, a new piece of information. Rav Nachman, in a different Besmedrash, also said what Rabbah said. As the Gemara said, Gemara tends to do that many, many times. The Gemara just brings another opinion who says the same thing to give you extra, assertion, extra backup to the first opinion. Now comes another statement. Omar of Yuda Omar Rav. Omar of Yuda Omar Rav. Ed Zoymem Meshalem Lefi Chelkoi. And Ed Zoymem has to pay in proportion to his part of the crime. When I read these words, what do I think? So let's stay with 20,000, right? And there are two eidim. Usually there are two eidim, right? There are two eidim. 20,000 divided into two, even I know, is 10,000. Yeah. So thank you for the compliment. It's hard work. Yeah, tops. So then 10,000 each one is to pay 10,000. Okay. By the way, that's true. That's aloha. Okay. Back to Gemara. I'm not sure what you mean. What do you mean when you say each one pays according to his part? Ilema, if you want to tell me, as I just told you, palga, he pays a half and the other Eid Zomim pays a half. That is true, but it's so true. It's true. It's a Mefurish Mishnah. Tanina, in Daf Hey, we're going to see in Daf Hey a lot of basic information about Eidim Zomimim. It says there, Mishalshin b'momoin, the end Mishalshin b'malkos. Let me explain. Mishalshin, says Rashi, means one of the two. Says Rashi, being a shalish either means being like a go-between. Yeah, let's say it's like, shalish is, we've seen it many times, it's called escrow account. Yeah, let's say you owe someone money, you have an issue, you buy an apartment, right? You have a legal issue. Yeah, and the money will not be in your account, not in your account. It will be where? In the lawyer's account, right? Escrow. Very nice. So then in the mediator or something like that. A shalish is a go-between. So basically, the Mishnah said, Mishalshin b'momoin, the guy, the falsely accused guy, says, hey, I deserve 20,000 from these two menuvalim. Beis Din are the ones who go between, and they make sure that each one pays his part, his share, and then Beis Din gives it to the accused. That's Mishalshin. Or Mishalshin means three, meaning sometimes there aren't two Eidim, there are three Eidim. It's true, you don't need the third one, but if you have three Eidim all in the group, and they're all Zomimim, all of them have to be paid. All of them have to pay. How much is 20,000 divided to 3? Huh? 6 and a bit each, 6.33, I guess, no? Right? So then, each one has to pay 6,000 point something. Yeah, a third, just an example. The en mishalshin b'malchus. But the malchus, no. How many malchus you give a person who say, let's say they said he ate chazir with a straw. They wanted to make him do what? Get what? Malchus. No? Then we don't say that. No, we don't say that. Don't ask me why. That will be discussed in Daf Hey. Each one, the gufoi, each one has to get the ganze 39. No reductions over there. You can ask why. Good. It's not the topic right now. But the main question is, excuse me, Rav Yuda Amar Rav, you're in a Moira. Why do you have to tell me something that is written in Mishnah? That's basic question. I don't need Rav Marav to tell me that each Eid Zomim pays proportionally according to his part in the crime when it comes to money. I know that from the Fush Mishnah, right? Ella, so must be it's not what he meant. Must be you misreading of Yehuda Marav. Ella, oh, here comes big business. Kigoin de itzum chad minayu the mishalem pal gedidei. Ooh, what happened? Did it ever occur to you that the following case is a basic case? Who are the two Edim? No offense to anybody. Beryl and Shmerel are the two Edim Zomimim. And they said that someone stole, someone killed someone, I don't know what it did. Someone ate Chazer and Yom Kippur, I don't care. They said something bad about someone in Beis Din. Now come two Edim, the savior Edim, the good Edim. And what did they say? We don't know where Shimon was, where Beryl was. We know Shmerel. Shmerel, you were with us last Wednesday. You said the guy stole from Osherad last Wednesday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Liar. We don't know about Shmerel, but Beryl, you were with us where? In a different place. You're with us in New York, not Bechlal here in Osherad, right? Only one was Muzam and not the other. That can happen, right? Of course. What would you do then? So now you're telling me he has to pay his half, and now the other one. The other aid may be an innocent guy. Maybe he's right. Maybe 8 zomim goes per person, per capita, and therefore the one accused of being false one will pay 10,000, and the other one is off the hook. We're not going to accept his eidus because there's only one out of two. He's off the hook. I don't know what we do. We believe, we don't believe, but he doesn't have to pay. Is that really what Rav Yehuda Omer Rav meant? Is that factually true? The Tanya, it says in the Brisa, we're going to see it in Daf Hey, and it's also mentioned in Maseches Chagiga. It says, "En ed zoimim mishalem momoin ad sheyazumu shnehem." Wow, an ed zoimim cannot pay money, is not supposed to, will not be obligated by Beis Din to pay money unless both are muzam. Why? Because it says in the Torah, funnily enough, it's a twist. Sheker ed sheker ona beochiv. In the parish of Edim Zomimim, yeah, in Dvorim Yutes, it says sheker ed. Ed is singular. But it says in the Torah that whenever it says aid, really means what? Two aidim. One aid is almost always worthless, right? Definitely dinay in the foshes for sure, right? Whenever the Torah says aid, it means two, right? When I talk about whatever eyes, I mean obviously two eyes. That's a natural thing. Yeah? Aid means a package deal of two aidim, and therefore only two aidim muzam get the punishment. But if one aid was accused, you may not go ahead with a din. Fine, that's a different story. We don't punish the aid. If one of two aidim were found faulty by other aidim who proved them wrong, yeah, imanu ha'isem, then that one aid doesn't get anything. You don't punish him. Only if two of them were punished, were found faulty together. Yeah, were found to be liars together. If so, what does Rida Marav mean? Either what Rida Marav says is too simple. It's written in the Mishnah, I don't have to know it. If you talk about your proportion, your part, your portion, or if you mean to tell me that one was accused and he has to pay individually, that's actually not true. So what does Rida Marav mean when he says, Et zoimim l'fi chelkoi, right? Good. Here there's a huge machlokes rishonim. There are many explanations here, and I will go with my favorite Rishon. You have to guess who is my favorite Rishon. You're gonna get $1 million if you know that. Who is that? Okay, you don't know. Omar Rove. Ve'omer eidus sheker he'aditi or he'adnu. Rove says we're talking here about a guy and another guy, two eidim, and they were made that blah 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 that the guy broke Shabbos or something, and then one of them broke down, big tears coming flowing down his cheeks, and he says, "I was somewhere else. I lied. I lied, and it's not true. Last week, Wednesday afternoon, I wasn't in Osherad, and I didn't see anything wrong with this guy doing. LMI, I was somewhere else. I was in Los Angeles last week on Wednesday. Yeah. And or he says, my friend and I, both of us, I'm now mazing, incriminating, mazing wise. My friend right next to me, he's a liar and I'm a liar. Both of us are liars, and I am ha'adati sheker. Right? And therefore, we say now that he has to pay for his half. Interesting. Meaning, In the Havamina, we think that if these people, the Eidim Zomimim, Beryl and Shmerel, if the good Eidim, Binyamin and Yosef, if they came and said Beryl and Shmerel are liars, Imonu Haisem, Eidim Zomimim. If Binyamin and Yosef say only Beryl would be with us and Shmerel we don't know, nothing happened. That's 2 against 2. But maybe when it's self-incriminatory, when the guy himself says, Imi Haisi, I was with myself somewhere else. I wasn't in Osherad last Wednesday at 4. I was in Chicago. I was somewhere else completely. Then we say that, yeah, it's individual. He admitted his own money. He admitted upon himself. Let him pay for what he did. And the other guy, but Beryl said that Shmerel was with him. No, Beryl cannot say about Shmerel. One person, one aide cannot take money out of the other. That's always the rule. And maybe that's what Rav Marav meant. That's the proportion business over here. That's how we slice the cake piece by piece. I self-incriminated myself and my friend who listened vis-a-vis myself, and I will have to pay I said he stole from Osherad 1,000 shekels. I'll have to pay 500. Maybe that's pshat. Give me no questions for the next 3 minutes. Sprek the Ritvo. You didn't answer. It was my Rishon. Okay. Oh, wow. Sprek the Ritvo. Ein odom asim atzmo rosho. You know what that means. You don't know. Okay. Ein odom asim atzmo rosho means a person says, I broke Shabbos. No. Self-incrimination, self-admittance, no confession. So kill him. What do you say? Kill him? No, you don't do anything. Ein odom asim atzmo rosho, a rule in Sanhedrin, Daf Ches, Daf Yud, around there. And then we say, B'cholot or Kula, a person cannot incriminate himself because there's no Gebadovo. Just like it can't be made on myself that I'm something good, I can't be made something bad. If so, how can he admit that he did anything wrong and we believe him, the aid? Answers the Ritva, and this is a rule, B'cholot or Kula. Ein odom asim atzmo rosho is only regarding when he gets suicidal, when he says, I broke Shabbos and therefore have to get skila. The example of the Gemara, don't look at me, the Gemara's example is a guy said, I had relations with another guy and I wanted it. Today it's very popular, of course. So we don't believe him actually, and we don't do skila to the guy. No, we don't believe him. Yeah, he goes to the parade. We don't believe him. No, we don't believe him. I mean, maybe believe him after a point. No, she's my daughter, yeah. But we don't kill the guy, okay? But when it comes to money, then we do believe. Why? Money, it's like I'm giving him a matana. Yeah, I'm giving a gift to someone. I'm allowed to give you a gift 20,000 shekels because I feel like, or 500 shekels, such a nice guy, you're in such a nice siyum. Instead, you're welcome. Instead, I can do it by self-incriminating as long as I get to the money. The Lomdish in yeshivas, they say, Kilo, it's not about me, it's about my money. Of course, my money belongs to me. I give money to you by saying that I'm an ed shekel. Doesn't matter. That the person can do. I can admit that I owe money. That works. To admit that I sinned myself, that I cannot do. And therefore, maybe that's what that's Rav Rav wants to say. Reg the Gemara, that cannot be the case. Why? Kol kamine. Kol kamine means, does he have the right? Does he have the halachic permission to do that? He can't do that. Kevin shehigid shuvein magid. There's a rule in eidus. Once a person gave eidus and then he changes his mind, as long as he wasn't betoich kedei dibur, he cannot change his mind. Beis Din are not a circus; they're not the Knesset, and therefore it cannot be. Yeah, you change your mind. Yeah, it's a drosha from the Torah, and therefore once an ed, we don't know if he's a zoymim, by the way. If an ed said he was with me, no, he said he stole from Osherad last Wednesday at 4. We believe that version. Later on, he says other things. We don't believe that. We don't buy that. That's always the rule. So that can be pshat. There are many questions here in the Rishonim also, but we're not going there now. Ella, here comes the final conclusion. Here comes the conclusion of what was behind the words of Ovido Marav. What's the business with this proportional partial eidus? The story is as follows. Listen carefully. Adnu, one of the people came to Beis Din in a different town. The original story happened in Beth Shemesh. Now he is talking, one of the Eidim Zomimim, his name is Shmerel. He went to Beis Din Beit Shan, and now he tells the Beis Din Beit Shan, Adnu, my friend and I were made, Vehuzamnu be Beis Din Ploini. We were made in Bet Shemesh, and I in Bet Shemesh lied through my teeth that the guy was in Osher Ad stealing. Other Eidim came and incriminated me, and then Beis Din went to sleep, went home, and that's what happened in Bet Shemesh. And now I will have to pay now. Here I am, I'm confessing in Bet Sha'an. And now what do we say, Rav Yehuda Marav? Now he'll have to pay his part. He can't be made about his friend, but about himself. Let's say how much was the total amount? 1,000 shekels. He has to pay 500. That's obviously not like we said at the beginning of the Shiur. Pregdigmor Keman. Who is Rav Yehuda Marav following? The Lord Rabbi Akiva. Clearly, Rav Yehuda Marav is not agreeing with Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, if you follow the Rabbi Akiva's opinion at the very beginning of Shiur, Rabbi Akiva said, not everyone agrees to Rabbi Akiva, but Rabbi Akiva views, that's very good chazorah. We're not closing the whole circle now, yeah? We're tying the knots now. We're tying the loose ends. What are we saying? Rabbi Akiva said at the beginning of the Shiur that Eid Zoimim, the whole concept of Eid Zoimim is one big knas. A knas you don't pay by your own self-incrimination. That's all idea. So again, Rav Yehuda Marav probably believes the other Tanoim doesn't believe in Rabbi Akiva, and he holds that a person may pay al pi atzmoi as an Ed Zoimim, right? Ella answers the Gemara, no. Ella, here comes the Chidush. This is very important. This is also mentioned in Halacha. This is the final business. Ella, now the Gemara wants to say that it's going to work even according to Rabbi Akiva. Listen carefully. Be'omer, he'adnu ve'huzamnu bebeis din ploini ve'chuyavnu momoin. Ay. That's the final story. Listen to this. You tell me this is a fine. It's a fine point here. Listen to the following story. It's a 3-part story, but it's not complicated. Bet Shemesh. That's where all trouble starts. I love Bet Shemesh. Bet Shemesh. They said, Osher Ad, last Wednesday, 4 o'clock, he stole. He didn't come here. And Beis Din said, yeah, boom, gavel down. Yes, you thief, Reuven, you have to pay Osher Ad, the Ger Chosid, you have to pay him what? You have to pay him 1,000 shekels or whatever, how much you stole, the Seder. In come Beis Din, before he hands the envelope, the thief, in came the other Eidim, the good ones, and they said, Imanu Ha'isam, you guys are liars. Yofi. Beis Din went to sleep. The day after, they didn't yet confess. The day after, he is summoning them to Beis Din in Bnei Brak. And in Bnei Brak, they said that Beis Din in Bnei Brak, who's the accuser, who's the plaintiff? The thief of yesterday, the one who's not really a thief. Staying to Beis Din in Bnei Brak, those guys owe me what? They owe me 1,000 shekels as Eidim Zoimimim, right? And Beis Din in Bnei Brak put down the gavel and said, Beryl and Shmerel, you each one owe 500 to the accused. Okay? So now that is not knas anymore. Beis Din turned the knas into money. Now they owe him money. They did not confess on time. They lost the race. He actually said that he managed to go to Beis Din quickly in Bnei Brak and say, these guys are Eidim Zoimimim, and the Beis Din in Bnei Brak listened to the eidus of the Bet Shemesh people, and they said, yes, Beryl and Shmuel, you guys are Eidim Zoimimim, bang, you have to pay him the money. They didn't yet pay, but now it's already not knas anymore. Now it's been translated to money owed under the auspices of Beis Din. Third part of the story, one of the Eidim, Beryl, went to Beis Din in Beit Shan, a third place, and he said, my friend and I were convicted by Beis Din as Eidim Zoimimim. Here, even Rabbi Akiva would say that he has to pay, right? That he has to pay. He has to pay. Obviously, he has to pay. Because why? That's not knas anymore. He's not admitting to the whole idea of being an Eid Zoimim. Everybody knows you're an Eid Zoimim already. Bnei Brak, the Beis Din decided you're an Eid Zoimim. It's not up to you anymore. You lost that special charm and right to be a Moed al Pi Atzmoi. No. You're only telling information to Beis Din that you have to pay. So what's the Chiddush? So now we say he has to pay his part. What's the Chiddush? Of course he has to pay his part. Beis Din of Bnei Brak already decided. So in Beis Din in Beit Sha'an, in the third place, say You got to pay. As Bnei Brak decided, what's a chiddush? Salk data chamina. Kevan havamina would be. This is a sweet. Kevan de lechavre lo matzi mechayev. Lei. Iunami lo mechayev kamash malan. Havamina was as follows. What would be if Beryl and Shmerel both come to Beis Din in Beit Sha'an? Beryl says, Beis Din, I have to tell you, I admit that Beis Din in Bnei Brak made us pay. And Shmerel said, no, they didn't. And Shmerel says, Shtuyot, the guy is hallucinating. He needs a psychiatrist. No, Edim Zomimim, no Betshemesh, no Bnei Brak. The guy, he read too many thriller stories. He's been not learning Makkos too well. But Beryl says, no, we were convicted in Beis Din, and it's money, not knas. Beryl cannot affect in his Beis Din the other one. In his words, in his head is the other one. Havamina, since he cannot, his words don't take effect regarding his friend, maybe they can take effect regarding him also. Because maybe eidus is always a one-man band. It's a two-man, it's a one-package deal. KML, kom mashmallah, no. Because it's not knas anymore, it's mamoin. It's as if I said, I owe you money that I borrowed from you. Yeah, it's not knas. If let's say Parrots and I borrowed money from Ellen, yeah, and I admit and you don't, I have to pay my part, right? Because I say I borrowed. You say you didn't, so don't pay. Each one is separate. That's a chiddush, but that's a maskana. Maskana is if an eid zoimim came and said, I was convicted as an eid zoimim, not I was eid zoimim. I was convicted by Beis Din as eid zoimim. We believe him and he has to pay his part. He's not moide beknas. He's moide bemomen. He's moide in regular payment. Because once it's in the hands of Beis Din, it's regular payment. It's like buying in the supermarket. It's like borrowing money. It's like paying your worker. It's regular moment. And what about the other one? He's not admitting. Shkoyach. That's the chiddush of Yidam Arav. Each one is looked at separately. They were aiding together up to a point. Now, when they retell the story of their lives to the new Beis Din, one of them says, "I was convicted and mechuyev to pay as an eid zoimim, was obligated to pay." The other one says, "I wasn't." Each one is judged separately. The one who's moide b'knas potu, moide b'momen chayev. If I admit to Ellen that I owe you 1,000 because I borrowed from you, that's not knas. You lent me and I borrowed, and now I owe you back. I have to pay. So too by the eidim. Baruch Hashem. This was, I think, tremendous out to Dishmai. We managed to get point by point. Question time. Yeah. Shiur is over. We're starting tomorrow the business with the Ksuba. Oh, we have some business tomorrow, I'm telling you. Hatzlacha u'bracha. Thank you to those who watch us on Torah anytime, those who follow us on YouTube also. Have an amazing week full of Geula and Hatzlacha to all. Thank you.